Hey everyone, Phobos here, coming at you with the Act 2 in the Act series that I'm doing, and we're just going to be talking about how to get through Act 2 safely and efficiently. So this is going to be one of the longer acts, but we'll start by which way you should go. Now this kind of basically just depends if you're playing solo or not. If you're playing solo or even duo, you're pretty much going to go right first because you need to get your ascendancy point at some point, and you might as well get it when you're going through the game initially. So you'd go up to Crossroads, and you'd probably split, one go to Chamber, one go to Crypt. Alternatively, if you still don't have your second Quicksilver, somebody's also going to want to run the Cave in the Old Fields, just in order to get that, because if you kill the beast or whatever, you get that for a reward. So it just kind of depends. If you have three people, then you can start sending somebody this way as well to start clearing the path to Weaver and stuff like that, or get the Wetlands waypoint. But if you just assume one, you're going to probably be going this way, probably doing Chamber first, and then maybe Crypt. Chamber is going to be your first, I'd say, really dangerous zone, and that's because Spark. Spark can be actually very dangerous because there's a lot of skeletons in there, and the necromancers actually tend to cast conductivity on you, which makes you take a substantial amount more damage, basically. So it can be pretty sketchy navigating through there. You just want to be aware of areas where there's tight clumps of mobs and they're all casting a lot of spark at once. You have to kind of be able to be cognizant and be ready to nope out of there really quick or just run past them. You don't always want to fight everything in there. It's kind of reminiscent of the prison, where once you get to the second level, you don't necessarily want to fight everything because of the enfeeble. Well, in this, you don't want to fight in any sketchy spots where you're going to be taking like sparks from 5 angles at once. Fidelitas can also be kind of scary. Stuff like Decoy can really help a lot for melee builds. For range builds, it's pretty easy because you just basically kite them. You don't want to take more than like one lightning strike in a row without replenishing your health. So keeping your health flask up to date will be pretty important here. But you really shouldn't try to take more than one strike because you can pretty much always back away and heal. He doesn't really move that fast. So just be cautious when facing Fidelitas, but shouldn't be anything too difficult. In terms of the bandits, which ones you're going to kill and which ones you aren't just depends on your build, but your build should be able to handle them just fine. If your build does tend to struggle with bandits, what you can do is you can just like not do Critlin here because you're going to have the waypoint for Crossroads anyway. So it doesn't really matter if you run directly to Critlin or not. After that, you can go to the you can just start going to Riverways, get more experience here, get more experience in the Western Forest. Hell, you could even get more experience in the Wetlands and then go back and do like the bandits or something like that. Go back and do this one, go back and do that one. So it really just depends on like what you're going to be doing for your build, how strong you feel. But most people can kill them right away. So after doing Chamber, I'm probably doing Crypt and the Broken Bridge, then for the Ascendancy, obviously. Then you're going to come through Riverways. Riverways, the main thing is you want a skill that can cross gaps because the bridges are broken in some spots. So it just helps you get through that zone more efficiently. Something like Flame Dash or Leap Slam. Once you get to Western Forest, this is probably the next dangerous zone, as you're going to have bandits. And some of the bandits are basically suicidal. They're, again, tinted red, similar to the Sea Witches in Merville's Cavern. And what they're going to do is they're going to run up to you and want to explode on you. And if too many of them explode on you at once, you're going to die very, very quickly. So you really want to be sure that you're not taking on too many of those at once. You can kind of like juke them a bit, so you can run next to them, kind of like a volatile, and they'll end up blowing up. So if you bump into them and then keep running, basically, they'll stand in place and explode. So they don't detonate immediately on you. There's like a little bit of an animation, so you can kind of use that to work it to your advantage. The boss here in the Western Forest, it's kind of hard. You do double strike, but he's very like linear, right? He just kind of sits there and double strike, so you can just engage him whenever you want. When you go in, attack him, come back out, pop flasks, or you can just put a totem down to taunt him, and then you get your skill point, obviously. Weaver is not really that hard. That's probably going to be the next zone you go into. Basically, you just want to have like a reasonable amount of HP, but that's kind of going to be in your build anyway, and obviously you're still picking up anything with life on it. You're probably still going to have your coral rings in, you're going to have your belt in, and you should have enough HP to eat the EKs. She doesn't really spam her EK frequently enough for it to be like a super big problem, and your DPS should be fine. You'll kill her relatively quickly. If you are taking too much damage, you just kind of back out and then re-engage, and again, Decoy Totem is really helpful here, as it is on all the bosses. After you kill Weaver and you kill the bandits, or it doesn't even really matter if you kill the bandits, but once you get the Chamber of Sins and the Weaver, you put the two things in the, you combine the scepter and the thing in order to open the cave, and you go into the Vault Ruins. Now, the Vault Ruins is sort of a sketchy zone in the sense that there's lots of constructs and stuff, and there's things that hit very hard, and there's tons of things from range, but the constructs don't really do very much damage at this level, and you can pretty much opt out of most of the melee fights. So it's not really a super dangerous zone anymore, I would say, especially because I think they removed the unique spider when they consolidated it to one level. So there's that. You get into the Northern Forest. This can kind of be sketchy because this is where Devourers start to come in, and there's the invasion boss that they added as like he's just kind of like unique in the zone. He does puncture and bleed and stuff like that. He can be very scary if he's attacking you with like Devourers and like a yellow bear or something. So there's a lot of different mob types in here that do like high damage, and then there's that mob that puts the bleed on. There's also like the snakes that do chaos damage, and there's Devourers. So it really just depends on how much you're taking on at once. I would say it's not a particularly dangerous zone, but it's definitely possible to die here if you play poorly. So either kill stuff gradually along the way, or just kind of like zip through everything, right? The tunnels is kind of the same thing. You're mostly concerned about Devourers in here. The unique drop bear in here, I would not recommend fighting him because he does kind of a lot of damage. Like if you're doing a build that kites and you just happen to kill him through kiting, that's one thing, but I would not recommend fighting him straight up because he does a lot of damage, and it's one of those things where if he hits you in conjunction with other things, you can be in pretty rough shape. Getting through the actual caverns part, you basically go into the Vol temple itself, and you start on the bottom of the pyramid, I guess, actually, and you work your way up. Nothing in those rooms is like particularly dangerous, I would say. And then you get to the fight with Vol. Now, Vol is mostly going to do lightning damage to you, so if you really want to be safe, you can buy lightning resist rings. Topaz rings, but other than that, you basically just avoid his lightning, and you want to dodge his slam. His slam probably won't even kill you if it hits you, just because it does very little damage on normal. So if you have a reasonable amount of HP and a decent amount of fire res, you can probably tank it, but it's just really never advisable to try and do that because there are things like crits, and basically you're not going to have run it enough times and have gotten hit enough times to know really if it's going to kill you or not, pretty much, right? Because you're not going to know every situation, and every situation is slightly different. Every build you run through it is slightly different with, so the best thing to do is just avoid it. It's very easy to avoid. You don't want to get trapped on the cold ground, but even if you get on the cold ground and you start moving immediately, you should be able to get away. It's just a very slow animation where he lifts his tentacle up and slams it back down. So it should be very easy to avoid that. And in terms of the lightning, I say the only trick I have is when he finishes, he does his lightning pulses in shots of 3. So it's like boom, boom, boom. If you keep running, you're not going to get hit at all. Now, the mistake some people make is they get hit in the next pulse, because he can immediately cast another set of 3. So he can cast 1, 2, 3, and then you'll stop to go hit him, and he'll be casting the next one at that point. So you really want to wait and see if he like lowers his arm, and that would signal that he's going on to some other type of animation. Rocks aren't really a big deal in this fight at this particular level because they just don't really do enough damage. So yeah, it would only kill you if it's in combination with a laser or something, and you're probably not going to be getting hit by that. So Vol is a pretty easy fight. Just take it slow if you need to. No sense dying for no reason to get a little bit of extra damage in, right? Just wait for his damage cycles to end, then do your damage, rinse and repeat. Should be a relatively simple fight. So yeah, that's pretty much Act 2. Thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to leave them in the comment area. Thanks very much, and see you next time.